Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. Today is March 15, 2020. I'm Len Hayward, and I'm the worship associate today. I have 4 initial announcements before we begin. First, in Riverside County, the risk of being infected with the coronavirus, COVID-19, is currently low. To help keep it this way in our community, we wish to remind everyone of the safe hygiene practices we ask you to follow. If you are feeling sick, please stay home until you are free of fever for at least 24 hours without fever-reducing medication. Please wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Please use regular soap, not antibacterial soap. Antibacterial soap damages the natural flora on the skin and does not kill all microbes present. If and only if soap and water aren't available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, please. And cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue, then throw the tissue in the trash and clean your hands immediately. If you do not have a tissue, use your sleeve, not your hands. Besides, it just looks cooler. Be cool. Don't use your hands. Be cool. If you feel you are going to repeatedly cough or sneeze, please cover your mouth and nose with either a tissue or your sleeve and exit the sanctuary, but only if it's going to be repeatedly. And make sure you cover before you stand up and go. Please, as we already did earlier, please keep your family and roommates at least 6 feet away from everyone. Stretch out your hands, and if you touch anybody, you're too close. You can stay with your family, but just don't do it with people you don't live with, please. And when you greet one another, please do so without touching. No hugging, no handshaking. Instead, smile, wave, bow. Be like the Japanese. Bow. Wink.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
So something fun that we were doing, the Jane Austen Society, of which I am a member. The person who bows first, the person who has to respond, regardless of gender, curtsies. It's fun.
Curtsy.
You want to bow first. Curtsying in anything other than a long dress just does not look good. So you want to be the one to bow first. So be fast on that. You can also use a peace sign. You can use jazz hands. You can use the Vulcan salute and whatever. Just don't touch. All right. At the end of our service, we will not be forming a physical circle around the sanctuary for the benediction. Instead, we will be forming a spiritual connection to one another. We'll tell you how to do that when we get there. And after the service, anything for our coffee hour will be prepackaged that we would be serving. Otherwise, and you may want to try this, consider it instead of a coffee hour as a bring your own beverage and snack hour. It's a good way to do things. A little bit of information. The coronavirus, COVID-19, right now what they believe is it is spread through droplets when an infected person coughs or sneezes. It is most likely to happen when you are in close personal contact, therefore stay away. COVID-19, the flu, and the common cold all tend to share the same symptoms of fever, coughing, and sometimes difficulty breathing. The key is, have you had contact with someone who was infected with COVID-19? If you suspect you have COVID-19, call your health provider first. Only go to the doctor's office or the hospital if you are told to do so by your health provider. We don't want to overwhelm the hospitals with people coming in with an allergy cough and thinking they have COVID-19. Besides, you go to the hospital, you have more chance of getting infected with who knows what. If you want to know more, you can go out on the web to the Riverside University Health System Public Health website. That's our Riverside County Public Health site. It's really actually very easy. It's RivCoPH, so Riverside County Public Health. So rivcoph.org/coronavirus if you want to specifically go to the coronavirus page. There's a link off the main page for that as well.
Or GDP.
There's a CC. The reason why I mentioned the Riverside one is boots on the ground. The people in Riverside know what's happening in Riverside. What's happening around the nation is totally different from place to place. Our second announcement. Thank you for keeping up with that, Bill. The UUCR Youth Religious Exploration class is not meeting today. Online classes are being considered, and we'll let you know if this option is chosen. Third, we are recording our service and we'll make it available for online viewing. We'll let all our members know how to view it. The instructions will also be posted on our website. We will also provide tutoring for anyone who wants it. And fourth, for all our hymns, we are projecting the lyrics up front. And so, erring on the side of caution, we ask you, please not use the hymnals unless you are unable to read the lyrics. Thank you. For our opening hymn, it is "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." For those who need it, it's in the gray hymnal, and it's number 16. So if you would, please rise in spirit, and if you're willing and able, also in body. We'll be singing it twice through. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, we'll be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight till by turning we come round right. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, to be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight till by turning we come round back. Please be seated. For our call to worship, please read with me our mission statement. It is projected up front and can be found on the cover of your order of service. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. Once again, welcome to the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. We invite you to worship with us with an open mind and an open heart and an open phone. We are a social media friendly congregation, so please feel free to post about this service. We only ask that you tag us and that you keep your phones in their most meditative mode. Today we have John Bloom-Ramirez speaking on Nevertheless She Persisted. John's sermon description says, Senator Mitch McConnell said about Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Warren was giving a lengthy speech. She had appeared to violate the rule. She was warned. She was given an explanation. Nevertheless, she persisted. This was in response to his trying to silence her reading of Coretta Scott King's letter from 1986 to refute the confirmation of Jeff Sessions as Attorney General of the United States. 2 other male colleagues read from the letter with no pushback or censure. Why are women silenced consistently? John Bloom-Ramirez, MDiv, Master of Divinity, is a graduate of Meadville Lombard Theological School in Chicago, Illinois. A queer minister and pastor, he identifies theologically as a rationalistic. He also enjoys historical reenactment and garment construction. John lives in Mentone, California with his husband Renee, his son Jordan, his grand puppy Polyphemus, and his husband's cat Rukia. In your order of service, you can find many of our church happenings, but there are a few I'd like to highlight. Dinah Rowe is ordering script cards today. If you wish to place an order, please fill out an order form and give it to Dinah today after the service. The order forms are on the desk in the parish hall. And there will also be Staters Market gift cards as well. We have a few committee meetings coming up today. The church council meets at noon in the annex next door. Next Sunday, the Social and Environmental Justice Committee meets at 11:30 a.m. in the annex, and the board of trustees will meet at 1 p.m., also in the annex. Unless things change, in which case everyone will be told what to do instead. All members, friends, and visitors are welcome to our meetings. This Saturday, the Supper Club is meeting at 6:30 p.m. at the Peking Chinese Restaurant on Magnolia Avenue in Riverside. Please RSVP to Pat Coender to be included in the reservation count. As part of our being a green sanctuary, we have a recycling program. We have recycling bins in the hall next to the kitchen to collect plastic and glass bottles and use household batteries. The money we receive from recycling the plastic and glass goes into our maintenance fund, and the batteries are safely recycled to keep toxic waste out of landfills. Let us acknowledge that we walk upon the traditional territories of the Moronga, the original people of this land, who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. In honor of the Moronga people, we, the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside, light this sacred flame as the stewards of this sacred and holy place. We are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to live out our dream of a world community of peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. The chalice is the sacred symbol of our faith. We light it to remind us of the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. I would now like to invite John to read our chalice lighting today.
To face the world's shadows, a chalice of light. To face the world's coldness, a chalice of warmth. To face the world's terrors, a chalice of courage. To face the world's turmoil, a chalice of peace. May its glow fill our spirits, our hearts, and our lives.
Thank you, John. If you are a visitor, thank you for joining us today. We'd love to get to know you and for you to get to know us. Please join us after the service for coffee hour in the parish hall. To get a taste of that fellowship now, please sit or stand where you are and greet one another without touching or getting too close. Remember, you can wave, you can say hi, you can bow, you can wink, you can do the peace sign, jazz hands, Vulcan salute. I'm sure there are a myriad of other ways you can do so. So if you would please, just for a moment here, stand or sit or stand and just say hi to everyone. Bye. Thank you, everyone. It's wonderful to see such fellowship. I really hate to end it. But now that you've all sat down, please rise once more in spirit, and if you're willing and able, also in body. Our next hymn is We Give Thanks. And again, if you need to use the hymnal, it's number 1010 in the teal. Please be seated. Sharing our joys and concerns is an important part of belonging to this beloved community. We are temporarily changing how we share them. Please enter your joys and concerns in our book of here on the altar. Each Sunday, we will read what has been added since the previous Sunday. And since we're making this change right now, there's nothing new. So, a concern, when shared, is divided. We place a stone in our water chalice for all the concerns in this room. Know that we support you. A joy, when it is shared, is multiplied. We place a stone in our water chalice for all the joy that is in this room. Know that we celebrate with you.
Here's a prayer for anybody who is manning a grocery store at this particular time. That's got to be a tough job.
Yes, thank you. Our next hymn is We Would Be One. It's number 318 in the great hymnal if you need that. Please rise in spirit, if you're willing able, also in body. Please be seated. Now is the time in our service when we can give of ourselves. We take 3 types of collections every week. The first 2 for our Riverside community. We collect dried good foods for the food insecure, such as pasta, granola, crackers, and powdered milk. We also collect hygiene items for anyone who needs them, such as toothbrushes, travel-sized soaps, shampoos, shaving kits, and socks. Our social justice committee distributes these in front of our church every Thursday morning. If you have not already done so, after the service, please place both the food and hygiene items in the tubs out in the parish hall that are marked for the particular items. Our third collection is sharing our treasure. This offering is how we fund all that we provide to our congregation and our neighbors. It is also how we care for our beloved and aging church. We have several ways that we can accept your donation. Please donate online through our PayPal account. You can use the QR code printed on the back of your order of service, or you can find a link on our website. You can please mail your donation to the church. Our church office address is on the back of your order of service. If you wish to donate with cash or check now, please bring your offering to the altar and place it in the vase that we have here on the table. Remember, when you come down to do that, to please keep 6 feet between you and everyone else. And at this point, I think it would be best if we did this after the service. So please donate as the Spirit moves you. Also, if you are visiting for the first or second time, please don't feel you need to make a financial offering. Your presence is gift enough. Thank you for your generosity. And to those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. In recognition of these gifts, freely given and gratefully received, please rise in spirit, and if you're willing, able, also in body. Let us sing now together our offertory, From You I Receive. Please be seated. I would now like to turn the remaining service over to John.
Please join with me now in the spirit of meditation or prayer. Source of all, this is my third attempt at a prayer. The first 2 revealed to me that I am angry, which I did not realize until I couldn't bend those prayers into what I thought they should be. What is wrong with us? How can we be so depraved and cruel? How is it that we do not learn? How is it that we have not become better than this? How will we ever get any better than this? Why is it taking so long? Why must so many people suffer while we still refuse to value each other, to free each other, to lift each other? How is it that we are so beautiful, so ugly, so blessed, and so cursed? Refugees continue to flee for their lives to nations where they know nothing and no one, not even the language. People within these nations of refuge point fingers and name the refugees as a threat, including us. The problem, as the problem, they are not the illness. They are not the symptom. They are the danger and not the victims. So let me lay my anger aside, fold it carefully with my rageful hands, and I will take it out later, rant and rend it later, and give it to you, source of all, if you are there to receive it later. But for now, let us pray our grief for all of those who have died in fear and horror. Let us pray our hope for those whose lives hang in the balance now. Even as we breathe in this moment, may they recover and may they live. And the reason why I pray this today is because we still have children in cages. We have a virus that is spread so very quickly. What about them? What about the people that are incarcerated? What about them? We pray that they all survive, every single one, every person in peril, every child, every youth, every soul, every parent, every grandparent, every soul, every desperate soul. May we understand that our prayers are not enough. May our own growing awareness of their courage and desperation become action. Action that helps them be met with safety and warmth and respect, recognized as our own, of our own making, as part of our family. May we not pray for intervention, salvation, completion, redemption, those tired prayers that assume saving someone else is another person's work. It's only God's work. May we instead understand that we cannot be saved by or for anyone or anything but each other. Each other is what we are given and all that will save us. This planet is all we have and all that will save us. Our own honor is that we have. Our honor is all that we have, and it's all that will save us. Each other's humanity is all that we have, and it's all that will save us. All that we are, all that we will be known for, all that we will be judged by, all that will intervene for us, save us, complete us, redeem us, is us. 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 All right. Take a deep breath. Amen. And blessed be. This sermon, it's not a political stump speech, an indictment of any particular political party, nor is it to support a candidate in any way, shape, or form. We will look at Elizabeth Warren's example as just another in the hypocrisy that is the American expectation of a woman. We will honor some of the ancestors who came before her, who also dealt with the same hypocrisy and who thrived, who persisted. On February 7, 2007, in an effort to criticize Jeff Sessions' record on civil rights, Elizabeth Warren, the senator from Massachusetts, quoted in a statement from 1986 by former Senator Ted Kennedy from her own home state, Massachusetts, regarding Senator Sessions' nomination to federal court judge. He is, I believe, a disgrace to the Justice Department, and he should withdraw his nomination and resign his position immediately. Senator Warren said that she would stand with Senator Kennedy, and like he did, she would cast her vote against the nomination of Senator Sessions. Senator Warren continued by reading a letter that Coretta Scott King had written to the Senate Judiciary Committee in 1986. Civil rights leaders, including my husband, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and Albert Turner, have fought long and hard to achieve free and unfettered access to the ballot box. Mr. Sessions has used the awesome power of his office to chill the free exercise of the vote by Black citizens in the district he now serves to seat as a federal judge. This simply cannot be allowed to happen, Mr. Sessions' conduct as a U.S. attorney, from his politically motivated voting fraud prosecutions to his indifference toward criminal violations of civil rights law, indicates he lacks the temperament, fairness, and judgment to be a federal judge. Senator Daines of Montana, the presiding chair of the chamber, warned Senator Warren that she was in violation of Rule 19, which prohibits ascribing to another senator or other senators any conduct or motive unworthy or unbecoming a senator. It's a lot of words. Basically means you can't talk smack about another senator. Senator Warren then said she was merely quoting the words of Senator Kennedy. She didn't actually say them. She then asked to continue to read Mrs. King's letter. Senator Daines agreed. While Senator Warren continued reading the letter, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky interrupted, saying, "The senator has impugned the motives of our colleague from Alabama as warned by the chair." Senator McConnell objected to the line of Ms. King's letter that said, "Mr. Sessions has used the awesome power of his office to chill the free exercise of the vote by black citizens," which Senator Warren had quoted prior to the warning. Senator Warren said that she was surprised that the words of Coretta Scott King are not suitable for debate in the United States Senate, and requested to continue. Senator Daines asked whether there was an objection. Senator McConnell objected, and Senator Daines called for a vote, saying, "At this point, the senator will take her seat," preventing Senator Warren from continuing. The Senate vote to sustain Mitch McConnell's objection was along party lines, 49-43, silencing Warren for the duration of the confirmation hearings. Following the Senate rule to silence Senator Warren, Senator McConnell, on the Senate floor, said she was giving a lengthy speech, she had appeared to violate the rule, she was warned, she was given an explanation, nevertheless she persisted. Nevertheless, she persisted. Those three simple words, they became a rallying cry for feminists throughout the country. CNN reported, for Warren's supporters, it was a textbook case of mansplaining, following by men silencing a woman. Incidentally, Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon subsequently read the letter from Coretta Scott King without objection. Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey pointed out that the letter was already in the 1986 congressional record. Yet Senator Warren remained silenced for the 30 remaining hours of the confirmation hearings that followed. Women make up 52% of the population in this country. 52%. More women than men registered to vote. Some 83.8 million women registered to vote in 2016, compared to 73.8 million men. Now, there seems to be a disconnect as to why women would vote against their own rights, but that's another sermon for another day. Women are frequently targeted by politicians, pundits, or judges through legislation regulating their bodies, opinions on the way that they should act, behave, what they should wear, how they should do their hair, or by laws seeking to weaken their chances of a fair trial should they ever be physically abused or sexually assaulted. They are still targeted even when they themselves are the politicians and they are told to sit down and be quiet. Recently, 22-year-old Camille Rainville's poem, Be a Lady, went viral when recited in video by Cynthia Nixon. The poem illustrates the hypocrisy and confusion of being a woman in this modern era, and I'm going to read a pretty large excerpt from this because this poem moved me. The visuals, if you get a chance to watch the video, I would recommend it. Here's the excerpt. Be a lady, they said. Say of yourself, be pure, be virginal. Don't talk about sex. Don't flirt. Don't be a skank. Don't be a whore. Don't sleep around. Don't lose your dignity. Don't have sex with too many men. Don't give yourself away. Men don't like sluts. Don't be a prude. Don't be so uptight. Have fun. Smile. Pleasure men. Be experienced. Be sexual. Be innocent. Be dirty. Be virginal. Be sexy. Be the cool girl. Don't be like the other girls. Be a lady, they said. Don't talk too loud. Don't talk too much. Don't take up space. Don't sit like that. Don't stand like that. Don't be intimidating. Why are you so miserable? Don't be a bitch. Don't be so bossy. Don't be assertive. Don't overreact. Don't be so emotional. Don't cry. Don't yell. Don't swear. Be passive. Be obedient. Endure the pain. Be pleasing. Don't complain. Let him down easy. Boost his ego. Make him fall for you. Men want what they can't have. Don't give yourself away. Make him work for it. Men love the chase. Fold his clothes. Cook his dinner. Keep him happy. That's a woman's job. You'll make a good wife someday. Take his last name. You hyphenated your name? Crazy feminist. Give him children. You don't want children? You will someday. You'll change your mind. Be a lady, they said. Don't get raped. Protect yourself. Don't drink too much. Don't walk alone. Don't go out too late. Don't dress like that. Don't show too much. Don't get drunk. Don't leave your drink. Have a buddy. Walk where it is well lit. Stay in safe neighborhoods. Tell someone where you're going. Bring pepper spray. Buy a rape whistle. Hold your keys like a weapon. Take a self-defense course. Check your trunk. Lock your doors. Don't go out alone. Don't make eye contact. Don't bat your eyelashes. Don't look easy. Don't attract attention. Don't work late. Don't crack dirty jokes. Don't smile at strangers. Don't go out at night. Don't trust anyone. Don't say yes. Don't say no. Just be a lady, they said. That's only about a third of the poem, and those words echoed so powerfully in my head, and they perfectly illustrate the disconnect to the ways society believes a woman should behave. Even more so evident in the way that Elizabeth Warren was treated during her presidential run. In an article in The Atlantic titled "America Punished Elizabeth Warren for Her Competence," Megan Garber echoes this point. The campaigns of those who deviate from the traditional model of the American president, the campaign of anyone who is not white and Christian and male, will always carry more than their share of weight. But Warren said something about her, apparently, something that galled the pundits and the public in a way that led to an assessment of her not just as strident and shrill, but also as condescending. The matter is simply not merely that the candidate is unlikable. These deployments of condescending apply. This matter is simply instead that her unlikability has a specific source, beyond bias and internalized misogyny. Warren knows a lot. She's accomplished a lot. She's extremely competent. Condescending acknowledges before twisting the knife. It's precisely because of these achievements that she represents a threat. Condescending attempts to rationalize an irrational prejudice. It suggests the lurchings of a zero-sum world, of physics in which achievements of one person are insulting to everyone else. When I hear her talk, I want to slap her, even when I agree with her. Those words were said by a fellow reporter and female, Claire Malone. So you can understand my confusion when I read these words and I hear these words and I see these words and I see a candidate that's so competent who is instantly denounced simply because of her sex. And they say, no, it's not because she's female. She's just too much. So let's take a look back at history. We're going to go back about 500 years. In 1558, then Princess Elizabeth of England became Queen of England at age 25, her parentage was questionable. Her father withdrew the country from the control of the Catholic Church in order to marry her mother, Anne Boleyn. 3 years into their marriage, Henry had tried Anne and convicted her of adultery, witchcraft, and which were treason in a royal consort, not to mention the charge of incest with her own brother. Though Henry himself had many mistresses and also consulted many astrologers. It's okay, she's one. Elizabeth spent the next 22 years in a tumultuous battle to remain alive, her title changing from princess to lady to merely bastard in a moment. When she did achieve the throne in 1558, she inherited a bankrupt country torn apart by the religious persecutions of her sister, Queen Mary I. She intentionally chose not to marry. She couldn't choose an Englishman because that would raise him too high, nor could she marry a foreigner and be controlled by a foreign power. In her unique position as a woman, she had to remain perfect. She carefully controlled her image and propaganda because she needed her people to see her as strong, as youthful, as virginal. By the time of her death, she had defeated one of the largest naval forces in all the world. And she'd left her country as one of the richest. Nevertheless, she persisted. Frida Kahlo contracted polio that left her right leg shorter and thinner at the left at the age of 6. By the age of 18, she was in a near-fatal accident where her pelvis was crushed, being impaled by a bar, and several vertebrae displaced. She turned to art as a way of expressing her pain and grief, and frequently painted subjects dealing with her Catholic upbringing, her desire to grow closer to her indigenous heritage. Kahlo was openly bisexual, having affairs with both men and women. She was the first Mexican woman to have a painting purchased by and displayed by the Louvre. Continuing to suffer from failing health, one of her last public appearances was at her first show in Mexico at the Contemporary Art Gallery. To the surprise of the guests, she arrived in an ambulance and was carried on a stretcher to a bed where she stayed for the duration of the party in the center of the gallery. Her art has taken on even greater significance now. Kahlo's popular appeal seems to stem first and foremost from the fascination with her life story, especially its painful and tragic aspects. She's become an icon for several minority groups and political movements, such as feminists, the LGBTQ community, and Chicanos. Nevertheless, she persisted. Why do I share these stories as well from these two particular women? The answer is rather simple. Both women dealt with the same misogyny that Elizabeth Warren is dealing with now. Both women were belittled by the establishment. Elizabeth of England, because she was the first successful female monarch that Europe had actually seen since Isabella of Castile. And it was easier to relegate her as insignificant because she only ruled an island. She also refused to marry. Isabella had not. And most of Isabella's conquests and competence and the things that she accomplished were overshadowed by her husband's name, King Ferdinand. Frida was met with condescension from the art establishment. They often referred to her as Little Frida and called her work childlike. As her work and subject matter deepened, she became too subversive or scary to show her art to the mainstream audiences. While she was married, she still had an open marriage that embraced her bisexuality. These women persisted so that Elizabeth Warren could persist. As a man, a father, and a feminist, it's important for me to have women like this lifted up, and not in a condescending or patronizing way. I raised my son to respect people, to see men and women as equals, not opposites, and certainly not better than one another. Our first principle calls for the acknowledgement of the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Our second calls for the justice, equality, equity, and compassion in human relations. We must recognize the tenacity of these women Because if we don't, we're not living into our faith. And maybe, just maybe, we won't be having this conversation 500 years or even 100 years from now. Hopefully less than that. It will be old thinking that will be thought of as antiquated, because women will finally fully have a stake in society. And they won't be told to sit down. They won't be threatened with violence. And they won't be told that they are shrill and strident when they are merely being strong. Until then, we must help them persist. We must support them when they do. Maybe so. Please rise with body or spirit if you are willing and able. Our closing hymn is You Got to Do When the Spirit Says Do. It is number 1024 in the teal hymnal. 1024 in the teal hymnal. We're going to do only 3 verses of this particular piece out of respect for our pianist.
What the Spirit says do. You gotta do what the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. You gotta do what the Spirit says do. 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 Sing! You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. 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 Laugh! You gotta laugh when the Spirit says laugh. You gotta laugh when the Spirit says laugh. When the Spirit says laugh, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh when the Spirit says laugh. 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 Do! You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. Says do. Spirit 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 says do.
Please remain standing. Normally, in this particular point of our service, as we have said before, this church likes to form a circle and hold hands. In this particular instance, for this final benediction for our service, I would like you to hold your own hand. I would like you to feel its texture. I would like you to feel its weight, its cold, its warmth. Become aware of the hand that you are holding. As an infant, these same hands reached out for nourishment of milk. As a child, these hands shakily wrote a name on paper for the first time. These hands have wiped away tears, clenched in anger, waved hello and goodbye countless times, and embraced loved ones. And now these hands are the tangible link that connects us to one another. Look and see those around you who have experienced so much in this life. These hands have worked, are working, and will work to make the world a better place. Go in peace, go in love, work for justice, go forth and bless the world. And with that I say, Amen, Shalom, Salam, Namaste, and blessed be.
Please find important information and links, including those given in this video, in the video description below. Thank you.